Hello, everybody. Sorry that I failed you yesterday, or rather, sorry that StreamYard failed you yesterday. I finally figured out how to break into everything on my phone. Today, can we see this? Okay, so this is kind of a bit of a mess. However, we are going to do a shortbread, Scottish shortbread. My great aunt down in Fort Myers, Aunt Gloria, is 96 now, I think. And one of her neighbors in her community is from Scotland. Her name is Nan. And earlier this year, I did a tea party for a donation for a silent auction for a nonprofit. And part of that was a shortbread. And in visiting Aunt Gloria, and Nan was there at the table that day, she was talking about her shortbread and the proper way to make it. So I have the proper way, the Scottish proper way that has been passed down from her father and I think from her grandmother as well, how to make this shortbread. And it's a cloudy, yucky Saturday here in Tampa, Florida. I really wanted to go to the beach to recharge. That didn't work. And so what do we do on rainy, cloudy days but bake? So we're going to use gluten-free flour. We're going to do 1 cup of gluten-free flour. We're going to do a very small batch of this. Okay. So a gluten-free flour, 1 cup. 1/4 cup I am using turbinado sugar. We have 1 stick of butter, grass-fed, grass-finished, right? Normally when I make this gluten-free, they kind of fall apart, and I am going to see what happens again with this. So our recipe calls for 4 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1 pound of butter, and a pinch of salt. And this says mix flour, sugar, salt, and cut up butter in a bowl using your mixer until it's a dough. Roll it out, put it in your mold, and bake it for approximately 40 minutes. So I'm going to give you the results after. However, I'm going to walk you through everything as Nan has told me. So we mix the flour, the sugar, and the salt. What's going on here? You got to have a paddle mixer. I'm wondering if we can do this with a food processor, because I found the food processor recipe for a drop biscuit that worked really well. However, so we're putting that in our bowl. And now we're going to add our butter, and with a serrated spoon, or in this case, we have a pastry cutter. If you only have a couple knives, you're going to use a couple knives. We're going to toss this in, throw this away. Not really sure how good your vision is right now, but you also get to see my messy kitchen. Just because I promised you this, and I didn't want to not have it. So, according to the recipe, we are supposed to use our serrated spoon, mixer, pastry dough cutter, a couple of butter knives to incorporate the butter. And then we are going to use a paddle on the mixer. And as soon as it becomes a dough, we stop. Now that's super, super important. And I am not a baker by any means. And I mean by any means. However, the first 3 times I made this with regular flour, I did not wait. What I thought was a dough, of course, wasn't. It does actually turn into a dough. So now that we have incorporated our flour and butter together, we're going to put it with the paddle until it becomes a dough. We're going to roll it out onto some parchment paper. Oh, I forgot the sugar. Uh-oh. Look at that. I'm so excited I'm forgetting things. Okay, we got to incorporate again. Not a baker, remember that. But we're going for gluten-free shortbread right now. Can we use plant-based butter, margarine? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it would be too soft, but you are welcome to try, and please let me know. Okay, so now we have that all incorporated in, and it's really hard for me not to try this dough. So I'm going to get a piece of parchment paper out as well right now, and I'm keeping the oven cold. So, is this correct thing to do? I don't know. I know that it works for me and all you bakers and pastry people. Oh, I forgot the Earl Grey too. So I found this fabulous And this isn't it. Hold on. Look at me. Look how unprepared I am doing a live. I might have used all the tea, in which case we're not going to have our Earl Grey tea. Well, you know what? Let's make it a green tea biscuit. There was this fabulous Earl Grey tea that I had found, and I added that into my dough, which worked really, really nicely. But today we're going to make a green tea instead, and this is a decaf green tea. So I just add 1 pouch into my dough, and now we're going to mix this up until it becomes a dough, and I swear this is going to happen. So in a matter of less than a minute, seconds, our dough is ready. So check this out. I just don't want to waste any of this. Oh, I should have used matcha. That would have been really good in here, huh? All right. Look. It's a dough. It's a dough. It's a dough. So we're going to roll this onto here, onto our parchment paper. And it doesn't say that we need to have any more flour. So I'm scraping the sides here. I'm trying not to eat it. I'm a dough person. Are you a dough person? I think that's our mother's fault. When Mama used to bake, especially when of course when she made her cookies, when we would do the S cookies, when we would do the potato with the chocolate and the raisins and the black pepper and the walnuts. And then when she would make her, oh my gosh, her cheesecake. We always got to lick the batter. And now it's coming out that you're not supposed to lick the batter and you're not supposed to eat the raw cookie dough. And it's not because of the eggs, it's because of the flour. And I don't remember flour ever being dangerous to eat raw, but now it is. So here we go. What I did was, I'm going to make a log out of this dough here, just like that, and I'm going to cut thin slices. And what we're supposed to do is we are going to bake it at, I forget what temperature here. We shall be baking it at 320 degrees for 40 minutes. So I am just, if you have a shortbread mold, then by all means use your shortbread mold. Yes, there is actually something called a shortbread mold. I have found that I can just make little square Lorna Doones. Do you remember Lorna Doones? So I'm just making a square out of this. And we're going to cut it into like, they're supposed to be thick. They're supposed to be about 1 inch thick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we're going thick now. We're not going thin on these. 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops. We're going to get 12, but I broke this. So I'm just going to mold it together. If you have anything break, right, you can always fix it. That's the nice part. And we're just going to put in our oven for 40 minutes. And then you have to let them cool down. So the biggest rule that Nan taught me is that once they're out of the oven, you're placing them on a cooling rack with a paper towel to let them dry. And that absorbs all the extra fat. It really does. It's kind of weird. And you are supposed to wait and not eat them until the following day. And I think that's probably the most difficult part for me because they taste so darn good. But yeah, so you're supposed to let your dough or your shortbreads cool down overnight before you eat them. Oh, there they go off my rack. They're on my sheet pan. I'm not sure if you have some for your sheet pan or not. We're putting the oven on bake at 320. And that's it. They're going to be baking 40 minutes. Let me know what happens if you try it. So small batch, 1 cup of flour, 1 stick of butter, 1/4 cup of sugar, and a pinch of salt. You mix the flour, the sugar, and the salt together. You cut the butter into it with your pastry cutter or your knives until it's together. Then on a paddle, you mix it up until it becomes a dough. Form it into the shape that you want, 6-inch shortbreads, about 1 inch thick. You don't go thin on these guys. You're cooking them at 320 for 40 minutes. Paper towel, I'll put some pictures out for you, and let it cool overnight if you can. The texture is so different and it's so amazing. You are absolutely going to love these. See you later. Bye.